ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome to the round of 4 here at the last chance qualifier for the NACE Star League and Overwatch 2. My name is Warren Jugglegun Hammond, and as always joined on the mic by LaFon. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. I mean, excited to see the action today because as has been sort of the trend all week long, this is an opportunity to finally make the playoffs, right? There are a lot riding on the line of these games. In fact, a victory here would automatically punch players' tickets to the next step of playoffs. In fact, lose here, though, and the journey comes to an abrupt and disappointing end. So a victory is a must-have here. Of course, we start off our day with Ashland University and OTSU, Ontario Tech. Two teams entirely familiar to us, as we've seen them several times over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and in fact, just very recently as well. These two teams also have a pretty, I think, a disparate play style, right? The Ashland University very much a fan of the ball composition, whereas Ontario Tech, they much prefer the brawl. They very much like the rush composition. So I love seeing these kinds of games where it's a clash of styles to see who comes out on top. And of course, we're going to be getting things started nowhere else than Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, we're off to the races immediately, right? And I think expectations, not really particularly surprising. Let's take a look, though, at our teams, though, because there is an interesting highlight here, right, of a small little wrinkle, if you will. Ontario Tech University, I mean, both teams sitting at a pretty decent record, but yeah, a couple of new players stepping in for Ontario Tech for today, specifically. Meanwhile, Ashland, their static roster, all 5 players coming back to the fold.
Yeah, and of course, some of the players that we have seen before that I think are good to just draw attention to from Ontario Tech. In particular, is going to be Blitz and Ada. Blitz, just a fantastic hit scan. Ada has been doing a lot on support, so always going to be taking a look at them. Always going to be keeping my eyes on them. But on the side of Ashland as well, I mean, Memes, Cheesy Dance, Reveille, these are all names that we are familiar with at this point from Ashland University. So yeah, just very excited to see what they're going to be doing today, and also to see too how they're how Ashland in particular is going to kind of neutralize the threat that can be Ada.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other thing too is, right, Ontario Tech, they play a very chaotic style at times, and even as they do play brawl, but the truth of the matter is that chaos can often draw your opponent into a little bit of an awkward position, right? If you fall into that off tempo that we often see teams struggle to recover from. And for Ashland University, I will say the one thing from them is that they've done a great job in the past of being able to kind of retreat from the brink when that sort of element comes into play. So definitely more than just a difference in styles, it's a difference in philosophy that we're seeing clashing today. And of course, a chance to punch your ticket to the playoffs, right? The last opportunity, in fact, LCQ2. And so definitely a very, very meaningful game.
It certainly is. And this LCQ also, I believe, functions a little bit differently than the previous LCQ we've seen, right? We had one just this past weekend. The teams who made it through, who got the wins, they qualified for the next stage of the playoffs. But this one in particular, it's more of like a mini bracket almost, right? So even if Ashland University comes away with a win here, or Ontario over the other, they still have to go through one more step before they make it into the actual playoffs. So yeah, this is an interesting situation for them, right? Because this is their last chance, right? Because these teams actually took a loss in the previous last chance qualifier. So this is the do or die moment for these teams.
Yeah, round of 4, as we highlighted earlier, meaning one more after this. But again, not a surprise where we're starting off. Lijiang Tower, very stable map, very expectations very much met over this season, and I think an opportunity. Now, the thing about Lijiang Tower is because it's been so widely picked over this season, I'm not concerned, with cheese compositions coming through. I'm not concerned with, picks that are perhaps unpracticed or unexpected. This should be, you have all your game time on this one. You've had all your stream time on as well. Which means that, we've seen what the best these teams has to offer, and now they can just come out and kind of just play their basic game.
Exactly. There's very few surprises, right? I think that can happen at this point anymore on Lijiang Tower or Kings Row, any of those maps that we just get to see all the time. So taking a peek though at what these the two teams are looking at, there's Hints of brawl, hints of dive. It'll, just remain to be seen once the gates open.
Ashland, interestingly, Ontario Tech not running, well, we'll give it a second, but not running the Symmetra to get to this point faster, instead opting for a Sojourn, which is a little bit more consistent mid-range damage rather than the brawl. But keep an eye out on that May. The May is going to try and make things very difficult for Cheesy Dance, especially, and slowing down the mech as they meet in the courtyard.
Of course, that May Ice Beam going to be able to go through the defense matrix with no problems, as is Calcium's Hammer, so a lot of damage already into Cheesy Dance. They're at about half health, but Immortality Field had to be committed by Blitz, as well as its fan, to me, was in a little bit of danger. But the point going to be contested by one member of Ashland, but overall just more than likely going to be left to Ontario Tech, as that composition really wants to kind of turtle on point, whereas this Diva-based one is going to kind of want to go in and out, poke in and out, see if they can get a player out of position or a lot of damage onto someone, make it easy for them to pick off. But once again, the Immortality Field has to come out, as Ada has gone down very, very low, but there's a D-mech onto Cheesy Dance as well. That's going to lead to their demise, and with that, Ontario Tech gets the point and the first fight win.
It's really good baseline play from Ontario Tech, never allowing a player to take a true isolated 1v1 with the dueling members of Ashland University. B1H and Vaskis both. The Tracer obviously trying to go on flank, trying to contest the objective, but rather than try and fight them head on, Calcium holding them close to the rest of the team, and Ontario Tech don't make it a fair fight, nor should they. And that obviously getting that early point capture means that they are building a hefty lead, almost 40% and counting at this stage.
Yeah, that is a pretty substantial, right? And like you said, all due to the fact that they were able to get in there early, right, and start to build up this progress before the point even before the fight was even done. But Memes has actually come in with a pretty big pick. The Blizzard, though, going to counter a lot of that. B1H finds a Deadeye and a little bit more. So Ashland University is going to be able to turn this point over.
Really clean engagement there is that they run the Amp Matrix to Ontario Tech, but rather than fighting in front of it, Ashland flipped the point and used the Kitsuna Rush in the back end. And even with the Blizzard, not able to shut down more than one player. And Ashland also have a sound barrier to kind of contest with, so even this Shatter, not a guaranteed fight win for Ontario Tech.
And what does Calcium do with this Shatter as well, I think, is a big question. Memes already, though, takes out Slifer. It's going to be a pummeling party here for Cheesy Dance as they take down a couple of players and send Ontario Tech back.
Just a really clean play, and I mean that's Memes once again. Finds Slifer on the cross, knocks them to their doom with the sound wave. And I mean, when you're down your May, you're not really going to take a fight. You can see Ontario Tech, they weren't really in that engagement at all. They kind of just allowed themselves to be eliminated quickly, and a quick reset. So still same situation, playing around the Blizzard here, or sorry, the Shatter rather. And the question is, does Ashland get their cooldowns in time? Do they react in time rather? If Memes gets hit with this is a winnable fight for Ontario Tech.
Oh my gosh, and Cheesy Dance going on very low already. They're going to go in with the Annihilation. Here's the sound barrier from Memes to keep them alive. Blitz falls under all that pressure, but it's Phantomy actually takes out Cheesy Dance. This could be an opportunity for Ontario Tech to turn it around. They get a couple of picks, but in the end, Vasuki actually gets a 4K to keep Ashland in control of the point.
Yeah, tragically, Ontario Tech not able to peel the Annihilation in time, and that's off Ashland just, instead of using the sound barrier defensively, just running it down. Ontario Tech doesn't have time to react. Now here, as we head into final fight, Ontario Tech has made a quick change. Calcium onto Winston, no longer on the Reinhardt.
And they're going to dive in and try and take over some of this neutral space, give an opportunity for the rest of the team to get in. But again, a sound wave going to take out Slifer. Amplify sound barriers there as well, but it's not going to be enough to stop the Deadeye from B1H. 97% and counting. We do have a touch coming in from Ontario Tech. In the meantime, though, B1H continues to find value, continues to click heads, and will clean things up and give Ashland the first point here at Gardens.
I really like the change to the Ramatra. It just holds space against the Reinhardt a lot of the time in that Nemesis form. And it allows B1H and Vasky both to get duels. They're allowed to actually get into the back line and isolate the DPS on the opposing side, something that they couldn't do when Cheesy Dance was on the Diva, right? Diva just not quite able to hold space. Part of that, obviously, because of the amount of damage that just passes through Matrix, but part of it, based on the tempo, right? Once D.Va's D-max, she actually becomes so much weaker, whereas with Ashland, you can put yourself in a vulnerable position with the Ramatra, then quickly change back, into the Nemesis form, and all of a sudden you're a big threat. So, nice little change there from Cheesy Dance, and Ashland will get round 1.
They're going to stick with the Ramatra too here as we get to Control Center, which, again, I like. It's not something I think you typically see, but anytime you're able to go up against a Reinhardt as Ramatra, you have to be feeling pretty decent about things. So, Ashland University able to get there a little bit quicker due to that teleport. They're going to be controlling the high ground here, and that's going to allow, as well, B1H to just kind of rain down damage. Memes able to finish off its fan to me. A couple of more players going low. Blitz, most notably, who is down, done, and dusted. So Ashland University, after these cleanups, will get the point.
The Ramatra needs an off-angle partner. You don't want to fight this with this composition head-on, right? You want something to bisect the opposing team. And in this instance, what Ashland do is they send Tracer and so Varsity and B1H both on the flank. It forces Ontario Tech to kind of return around and opens up an opportunity for Cheesy Dance to just continue, to brawl in close. And a good read. Ontario Tech can make a switch now. Slifer off of May onto a Reaper just for close range damage. Ideally onto Cheesy Dance, but again, that block in Nemesis form so good at tanking incoming fire.
Right, I mean, they still got all of their armor. Well, they had all of their armor. It is gone now, and here comes out the Immortality Field as well. That's going to be the Annihilation, though. Built in just the first 1.5 fights. All that extra damage coming in means it's an easy cleanup for the DPS of Ashland.
Whereas, I mean, it's such a quick burst of damage too, right? And also an increase in HP with that change to the Nemesis form. Even if you're already in Nemesis, if you activate the Annihilation, it refreshes that armor, so it makes you just so much more of a threat. And obviously, the AoE damage is so tremendous. ASCII forcing Immortality Field. That means that this Riptire from B1H, you'll have to kind of deal with it with damage. That's not happening.
No, it is not. But the Amplification Matrix did come out. The sound barrier's there to try and keep both of the rest of the teams alive. Going to be both tanks who fall, though, next. So it'll be up to these DPS and these supports. Slifer does have a Death Blossom. It will actually come out here and be shut down by B1H. So Ashland University has now put Ontario Tech on last fight.
What a spectacular run there from B1H, using the central pillar to avoid most of that damage from Slifer. And with that, it's just the trap that actually gets eliminated from that ultimate. Quick change by Ontario Tech, but it's last fight, and they don't really have anything, just this Deadeye. There's so much damage they have to avoid in this Amp Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to buy so much time. But in fact, the Amp Matrix is going to stay on point for long enough for 99% again here. We've got the Deadeye from Coast. It does find memes. Opportunity here for Ontario Tech to take this with B1H falling. Things are falling apart as well for Ashland.
A bit of a greedy play by Revelia, using the Amp Matrix so early. Nonetheless, great read by Itzman to me, just getting on the flank. Finding that one shot to get the Deadeye, and then in the open, right? It's in the chaos of a fight. There's no way to actually turn in time, and obviously no one-shot potential on Ashland's side. So Deadeye is actually fairly safe up there. Really nice play by Ontario Tech. Still, they have so much work to do. It's 99%. That's come all the way back, and they don't have much in this next fight.
Most notably, they don't have a sound barrier for B1H's Riptire. That could be the difference maker here. And with Slifer going down low, that's a lot of damage that's not going to be on point. Target spotted out briefly, looking for its target. It finds 3. That's going to be both supports, and it's fan to me. The other DPS falls. Calcium, not long for this world. And with that, Ashland will secure a victory on Lijiang Tower.
Really clean map by Ashland University. That's a really, really strong win. Completely isolating. The one fight that Ontario Tech truly had the advantage was the first one against the D.Va. And then after the switch to the Ramatra, absolutely nothing was able to be earned in terms of progress by Ontario Tech. They won one fight thereafter with the flanking Deadeye, just not enough to actually end up winning a map. So I really like the Ramatra pick. And, there's been a lot of discussion in the last little while, last couple of days actually, about which is the sort of stronger brawl pick. Is it going to be the Reinhardt? Is it going to be the Ramatra? And truth told, I don't think we quite have an answer yet. My instinct rather is that they don't play as a true brawl v brawl, right? Ryan is not. Whereas Ryan is a true brawl character, I think Ramatra is something a little bit newer. We use the term brawl as a sort of catch-all, but I think the tempo shifts that the Ramatra actually has a huge difference in terms of not just the rotations you need to take, but also how much of the fight you kind of have to pay attention to and the windows of opportunity, right? Keep in mind, for Ramatra, there is a quick shift between when you're in Nemesis form, between dealing damage and shielding yourself, right? Blocking. And you're so much more tanky when you're blocking than Reinhardt is. The shield is fairly easy to break these days, so I think for Ramatra that quick tempo shift gives you a lot of opportunity in fights that, simply speaking, the Reinhardt doesn't have.
Yeah, to me, it kind of functions as almost like a poke brawl hybrid, right? Just kind of depending on which phase your Ramatra is in at any given moment. So, kind of dancing around those two ideas and those two styles is a lot of times what a team needs to do. And I think that also kind of speaks to the point you made earlier, right? About, you need someone on an off angle if you're playing Ramatra, right? And that I think as well kind of speaks more to a more of a poke kind of style of play. But we're heading into map number 2 now. It will be Ontario Tech's pick. So yeah, Kings Row, most likely, let's just go ahead and call it out, is most likely where we're gonna go. But there are certainly other options here, and if you're losing the brawl matchup, maybe that's not where you want to go.
It's too late in the game to change your strategy this drastically, though, right? I think you just go where you've practiced. You kind of just play your game and identify moments where you can exploit your opponent. Because I think actually it's not like Ashland's playing flawlessly or anything, right? There is definitely areas you can kind of find value if you're OTSU. The question is now, how do you do it mid game? I think a lot of this is going to be on that first approach. If you want to play Reinhardt, that's cool. You just need to be able to get in close, deal damage, and dodge you sort of force the Nemesis cooldown early. Right now, the big problem is that there's no early phase. That first phase for the engage isn't happening. And that means that Ashley University aren't really forced to have cooldowns, right? They're using the Matrix Immortality Field so late in the fight that by that point you've exhausted all your abilities, and Ashland is still fresh, looking for the end of the fight. So you need to, I think, add a little bit more damage on the entry and then try and just force cooldowns so that Ashland has to actually think about where they approach, and don't just hold space on the map for free.
We'll have to see if they can make that adjustment here, as we are going into Kings Row for map number 2. Of course, there's, I think, going to be opportunities. There's a lot more map geometry that you can kind of play with here than on Ling Chung Tower, so that kind of methodology could work. But we're not going to have a Ramatra, we're not going to have a Rhine, at least if what's in front of us is anything to be judged by. Of course, Ashland is locked in. Ontario can still change.
Would you believe Ashland is actually attacking this time around?
5, 4, 3.
Yeah, cheesy dance on Ashland University. So
we just have the name swapped. Yeah.
Risa, I don't know that they provide. We'll see how. I think cheesy dance. They're gonna scout out, little look, see what the composition is, make their changes. Tracer, Hanzo. And then this is going to slow the game down a little bit, but Ashland's okay with that, I think, right? Scout for a flank, set everyone up, then actually go for engagement.
Oh, wow.
Way out of position there. that is a big pickup. Very tech. This fight's done and dusted.
Yeah, exactly. Without it going down, and especially Cheesy Dance getting demeched too. Well, actually, no. In fact, it's been Ontario able to turn this around and kind of send Ashland back.
Yeah, Slifer rescues that one with a quick shot onto the flank. Varsity not respecting the Hanzo, gets headshot, and the Tracer is forced to kind of bring it back. So Otta saved by their DPS there. And that's going to force Varsity to change to a Sojourn now too.
Yeah, and that's, I think, going to be a good call as well. Immortality Field actually out very early here for Ontario Tech. Revelia coming in with a couple of big picks. It's going to be neutralized, though, by a couple as well from Ontario. So things aren't over yet for them, and they've got the amplification matrix up on point. But honestly, Ashland, they have time here. But they're going to go ahead and commit the nano boost onto the Diva, onto Cheesy Dance. They're going to make a beeline for the back line, push them out of the way. That's going to clear point, but it hasn't got the kills that they necessarily need. So Calcium's able to push back onto point now, and they're very, very close as well to their Terra Surge. Slifer has been taken out by B1H. Vasuki finds another. So despite all of this, Ashland's still going to be able to come away with a fight win, but it has taken them quite a bit of time. That's about 2 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, still, I like that read by Ashley University, right? The nano onto Diva onto Cheesy Dance there makes sense. Really, what you need to do is you just need to force Ontario Tech back. You have to make them give up space so you can get your DPS into a better position where they're not firing down a single choke, right? Where they have more room to work with, and therefore can dodge their opponent. The big thing here is that Ontario Tech prior, they were getting really good angles because they could appear from multiple different areas, and Ashland was always going to be in the same location. So with that play by the Diva, it opens things up, and obviously we know what Bastion V1H can do when given space.
Oh yeah, exactly. They are certainly a force to be reckoned with. But now things have slowed down a little bit as we approach arches. Suki did go up a little bit earlier to try and gain a little bit of space, but has fallen back behind the cart now. Everybody actually from Ashland kind of grouped up in the same place, so Calcium gonna go in pretty aggressively. Cheesy Dance tries to get remech, but it's gonna be taken out by Slifer. Nice headshot there. So without your main source of damage neutralization, Ashland having a little bit of a problem, but Vasuki can take matters into their own hand with a nano boost, with an overclock, finds one. B1H is there to take out Blitz. With that, Calcium will fall, as will the rest of Ontario.
Still a very expensive fight for Ashland. That's the ultimate they needed to use. Ontario Tech, I mean, it's a cool idea. You see that Cheesy Dance was using the self-destruct to kind of engage. You kind of turn it on the head by using the Kitsune Rush and the Ant Matrix in close. Unfortunately, Ashland do a great job of kiting away from the damage and wait for the respawn time, right? They play just play close to their spawn so Cheesy Dance is back in the fight quickly. And obviously overclock with the nano is such a deadly combo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can almost just fire off rails at will with that. You only have to let them charge up a little bit to get a call into a squishy. That'll be a nice dragon strike to separate the team. Slifer on the high ground. Now trying to find some opportunity. Blitz has actually gone down very low, though, for Ontario Tech. It'll be a trade. Both Sojourns are down. Biotic Grenade hits Calcium, and that's going to be the end of them. So Ashland has opened up this point, and we'll get to see third.
Just straggle kills here. Slifer still. I mean,
ooh, Slifer gets Regalia.
I don't think it changes anything. It's just a nice little pickup.
Yeah.
Very nice delay on auto. With that sleep and late elimination, there's no contest whatsoever. Ashland will start working on third here.
Yeah, that late pick too does give them another corner as well. I mean, it doesn't quite put his shit into last fight territory, but like last fight and a half, right? Depending on whether or not Ashland can make this next one, it can get a fight win here, rather.
The big problem here is that Ontario Tech, they're going to try and open up the Kitsune Rush. I expect to see the Dragon Strike used sort of in retaliation.
It's actually going to be
time. Oh.
Yeah, nano boost self-destruct coming in from Cheesy Dance. They'll take out several members of Ontario Tech. So here comes this last fight here. Ontario Tech just kind of falling apart at the seams here at the end of King's Row.
Well, and Revelia catches Slifer way late. I mean, Ontario Tech don't have much to kind of walk on a spawn with. That Matrix, I guess, but yeah, there's the Dragon Strike through it. You can't stand behind it now, and that's entirely wasted.
Yeah, the zoning as well that it provides is going to force everybody else over to that right side where Cheesy Dance is causing a lot of problems. It is able to take out Slifer in the end with the micro missiles. Getting a lot of pressure now from Calcium on point, who has used their Fortify as well. But in the meantime, Vasuki and B1H are just picking apart everybody else kind of around Calcium. So Ashland will be awarded with a 213 time bank here on King's Row.
Really a lot of credit to Ashland for, I mean, the thing here is that Ashland University in the ult engagements, right, when both teams are set to kind of use resources, Ashland is winning them, but also critically, they're winning them with fewer resources spent. So they come in the next one, and I mean, OTSU sitting there looking with nothing, and Ashland can then cycle into, you know, the next round, next fight win. I mean, that self-destruct kind of highlights it. There's not really much to use there if you're Ashland, or sorry, if you're Ontario Tech. And then in the final moments, you know, there's actually nothing on board for Ontario Tech to even contest the objective with. Meanwhile, there's a Kitsune Rush and Overclock, and you know, you're not even going to get to the objective. Really well done by Ashland's economy management, and a deserved, I think, dominant performance in the attacking half.
Yeah, loved what I saw from them there, and doing it with kind of a non-traditional composition as well, right? The diva ended up working out pretty well there for Ashland, and honestly, I think a lot of that's just due to the proficiency of Cheesy Dance on the hero. I wouldn't say that Cheesy Dance was coming away with big, stellar, standout plays, save for that one self-destruct, right, on third point, but they were getting the job done, which is, I mean, a lot of times what you're looking for, I think, from a diva here in Overwatch 2, right? It's nothing flashy, nothing, eye-catching, but you're just, you're defending your team, you're putting in the damage where it needs to be.
Also, a lot of credit to supports for Ashland for keeping Cheesy Dance in mech.
Yeah, that too.
Big part of it.
And the Nano Boost as well. I love seeing the Nano Boost go over to Cheesy Dance, but Memes is already down, so Calcium is going to plow forward here for Ontario Tech. This is going to be good for at least 2 ticks. They didn't get another pick outside of that, so I think a contest here is very likely. Well, I say that.
Yeah, I mean, Otta just comes up on a flank and takes 2 down with them. At least a touch. Yeah. That's too late by Cheesy Dance. That was a winnable fight for Ashland University. They just give up there. And now Otto is entirely unpunished as their aggressive run came to an end.
Yeah, now they're gonna... They won't be able to push much further forward than Arches here. That's going to be a nice sleep onto Calcium as well, certainly slowing things down. The Biotic Grenade doing a lot too, and forcing out the Javelin Spin as well. So it's going to be a long time, honestly, before Calcium is really in a place where they can start to push forward aggressively, I think. But it does give time for its Phantomy to get up here, and with a pocket from Ada as well, they're able to hold on to this high ground and push Cheesy Dance down, who is very, very low. It's entirely possible they can get demeched here, but a flurry of heals comes in to save them from that. But in the meantime, Card has already pushed all the way up here to Bookshop, so having a lot of problems slowing things down. Cheesy Dance does get Calcium courtesy of a Nano Boost, but this Phantomy finds Memes as well. Kitsune Rush coming in and helping neutralize a lot of this damage that was coming in from Cheesy Dance. They do get another with the self-destruct, but they aren't able to get into the mech as its Phantomy finds them with a Helix Rocket. At this point, or rather this fight, still not necessarily over. It's going to be a nice magnetic grenade though onto its Phantomy to close things out for Ashland.
I would agree. Play there from Cheesy Dance, trying to get the remet kill. Nonetheless, the team is there to bail them out, so Ontario Tech will have to reset. And also Slifer making a change to a Genji now. Ontario Tech's composition's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about this Genji pick. I mean, I think it'll be down to whether or not Slifer can kind of execute on it. And speaking of execute, B1H takes out Ada. Nice headshot there with a Sonic. Amplification Matrix now to try and allow Ontario Tech to kind of maintain this space while they wait for Ada to get back into the fight.
It's so passive, though. It doesn't actually give much value to Ontario Tech. Ashland just cut around the corner the entire time.
Yeah. Now they got a attack visor, though, from the high ground. That in conjunction with the Terra Surge is going to be good for at least one. They get the DMAC as well and the pick onto Cheesy Dance. So Ontario Tech going to be able to push forward. Should be good for this point.
Really nice play to bait Ashland in. This one was a much cleaner look. Ashland couldn't just avoid for free that damage, unlike the Ant Matrix from earlier. So yeah, they'll get to third point and give themselves nearly 5 minutes. Ontario Tech doing a great job on their offensive half. Ashland have been sort of incapable of I think, stringing together multiple fight wins on their defensive half. Also, as the quick change to Winston comes in, I think Ontario Tech gonna change their look as well.
Interesting. This Doomfist actually going to be the choice here. That's interesting. So both these teams opting for more of a dive look. Ashland a little bit more of a brawl with Winston, almost. Give me a nice Dragon Strike, gives Cheesy Dance an opportunity to push forward and find a different angle. They're going to be able to get the high ground as well. And with its Phantomy falling, that's going to be a regroup here for Ontario.
Ooh. The one difference is the Ontario Tech can all-in engage. Ashland not so good in close quarters, right? Because they're running Hanzo and Cassidy, 2 players that want to operate sort of at mid-range rather than close quarters. Yeah,
Calcium looking for that opportunity to engage. Decides not to. Here comes a Kitsune rush, but the nano boost committed to Cheesy Dance means there's a lot going through that Tesla cannon at the moment. A little too much for the rest of Ontario Tech to handle. So now starting to chip away at this time bank.
If that win, it also denies the Kitsune rush, and Otto's going to switch now to Ana on top of that all. I mean, here's where you gotta just play aggressive your Cheesy Dance, right? Into Primal Rage. You can just, I don't know that you necessarily expect to win this fight, but you're trying to, or rather, you don't know that you get eliminations with this Primal.
Wow. Gonna be a nice Ant Matrix. Vasuki falls to it. B1H throws out the Dragon Strike. Here comes that Primal Rage. Try and sustain a little bit more on point, but they're already down to about half health. In the meantime, B1H has found 4.
I mean, all of a sudden, Cheesy Dance becomes a massive threat with the Primal Rage, right? And Ashland, that allows B1H to disappear into the chaos of the fight, switches to, it gets a couple of big eliminations with the Hanzo, something that B1H is, I mean, more than known for. And I mean, now the time bank looking about equal as Cheesy Dance makes another change here over to a D.Va.
Yeah, going back to what's been working. Although I gotta be honest, I don't know if it's necessarily been working on defense, and we already see Cheesy Dance actually having to fall back pretty far. That's gonna give a lot of room to Calcium to kind of go in, and when you're Doomfist, right, it's you can kind of go in and stay in a lot of times. You're gonna be able to find B1H, but in the meantime, Cheesy Dance back full health, does get Slifer. That's a big pickup as well.
You know, the close spawns on the defense, it doesn't really matter that the trade comes in. It's going to favor Ashland more often than not. Also, Ontario Tech, no cure clip. They can't cleanse the antis, and Memes has been eating well because of it.
Yeah, they have. B1H throws out the Dragon Strike again. That is going to isolate Blitz into 3 players, actually. From Ontario Tech, it's Fandemy forced to use actually the Nano and the Visor, but they don't get any kills from it. Another self-destruct from Cheesy Dance. This time the remake does get Blitz. Calcium is going to fall right afterwards. So minute 20 now on the clock for Ontario Tech. And I mean, this was looking so good for them when they got to 3rd.
There was also a Nano Visor in that fight, and Ontario Tech get no kills out of it. A combination of Matrix and the self-destruct, right? Just entirely denies that value. So Ontario Tech makes another switch here. They're opening composition in the final moments, but unfortunately, they're going to be below a minute. And I think at this stage, there's not even a guarantee to complete with time.
And no, I really, there certainly isn't. There's going to be a nice Molten Core coming out. The Nano boost on to Cheesy Dance as well. A big counter to this rally that Blitz has tried to find a value with. Slifer goes down. They had a Death Blossom. That was the big win condition here outside of the rally for Ontario Tech. And now they're going to be set packing and to try again with only a little over 30 seconds.
Yeah, the stagger.
Oh, this stagger.
Pretty tough. But yeah, last second change is coming in from Ontario Tech once more. You're coming in for Kitsune Rush, the Dragon Strike as well. I mean, the Death Blossom is hard to get value with him to the best of times. Against the D.Va, it becomes even more problematic.
Yeah, you have to look for the DMAC, right? Or just be very cognizant of where the defense matrix is. Valia finds Calcium. That's going to open things up quickly. Slifer goes in for the Death Blossom and is just deleted again by Revelia. Everybody hitting heads here. B1H finds 3, and Ashland will go up 2-0 here in this last chance qualifier.
Tremendous performance by Ashland. I mean, the final moments there, Slifer, it's a last ditch effort, right? There's really nothing else you can do. But tragically, again, that Matrix just denies the self-healing long enough that Focus Fire comes in. That was 4 minutes, 43 seconds, by the way. It expired. Yeah. Slifer, the D.Va just on them 100% of the time.
Yeah. Absolutely huge showing there from Ashland University. And I mean, honestly, what a great push, too, coming in from Ontario through the first 2 points on their attack. It looked fantastic, but things just got shot down there on 3rd, which is honestly how it goes a lot of times on King's Row. You know, one team can look absolutely fantastic, and then the other just puts their foot down and says, no, we're done. Buck stops here. Go back.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it obviously around the fact that Calcium just can't take space. You know, the switches that Cheesy Dance was constantly making on the tank role to play what was, I think, a reasonable sort of, not counter, but able to survive long enough to open up the field for B1H to find headshots. And then constantly being a threat with a nano boost, right? Having the ability to win a fight with just a nano so tremendous, and Ashland take that to a full hold. Oh, well, a hold on third, and a win on map 2 to put themselves a match point.
Well, before we get to map number 3, we're going to throw to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. We are back here at the last chance qualifier. Currently, Ashland up 2-0 over Ontario Tech. They're on their last legs here, Lafon, as we move into map number 3.
And I mean, clearly signs of life in the last map from OTSU. It's not like they were just out there kind of getting, run down, but unfortunately not able to close out Kings Row. And now, yeah, as you said, a reverse sweep required to keep their season not just alive, but to continue to try and make it forward, right? Ashland one step away from heading to the final match to try and head into the playoffs proper. So yeah, expectations need to be met here. Another change coming in as we go to Escort. It's going to be Circuit Royale, as you can see in the lower part of your screen. And this is, I think, an interesting choice because it takes you off of, as you do with most Escort maps, takes you off of the brawl, takes you off of the or dive or anything like that, and forces a near mirror in the snipers. And I will say the one downside to that is that as of this point, B1H has been an absolute menace in the Hanzo. And there's a real opportunity for this to be kind of a walk for Ashland on this third map.
Yeah, I mean, if they continue kind of this momentum that they built, I think this could be over relatively quick. But it's going to be a look we haven't really seen a whole lot from either of these teams. I mean, maybe you could say a little bit from the Ramatra is if we go back to Control Center on Lijiang Tower, but for the most part we haven't seen Poke yet today, so I'd be really interested to see how these two teams go at each other as we move in here to Circuit Royale.
Interesting take here from Ontario Tech, who have made a substitute, by the way. Rep stepping in for their DPS core.
5, 4, 3.
No Widow though, so Vasky actually is unleashed, I think, in a big way here.
Yeah,
mid-range damage from Ontario Tech. Ashland can take. I mean, the angles they can play at are just so much further. So Rap's going to have to keep their head on a swivel and really be quick on the draw to try and eliminate this Widow.
Oh yeah, he'll get in the way just a little bit. Couple of shots fired. Nacho time goes down immediately. It's going to be a trade though. Suki is found. Nice headshot there from Slifer. But all this means, honestly, is that this card is going to keep moving under Ashland's control. They're going to get very close to capping first here.
Slow the game down tremendous. Actually, Ashland make it switch now to an Ash too. Interesting stuff. Oh, the payload stops moving. There's a recontest available. There's a recontest available for Ontario Tech now, actually. Oh yeah, definitely now.
Oh yeah, yeah. With Revele going down and memes on life support. Actually, they come away with a pick on the Nacho time. They did get a little too aggressive here, but Slifer is going to be able to neutralize that with a pick on the cheesy dance.
Ashland, I mean, overstepped their bounds a little bit. Nice little flank here. Otta, 5 from range. Otta has been impressive. Otta has operated on the absolute limit. Sometimes that means that there's some really nice pickoffs. Sometimes that means that the Zen player or the flex support player gets punished for their wayward ways.
Yeah. He's Nance. Able to get this.
B1H is going to try and use. I think you're going to Dragon Strike here early just to create space. Oh, no, you're not.
Wow, Otta. Again. With Basuki going down, I mean, that's Ashley once again kind of crippled at the knees. The amplification matrix clears the rest of that way, but B1H does get a pick on a reps for Jesus. So
they can't overstay their
push back in.
Yeah, well, you can't override. That's just a nice pick that allows you to kind of get in for the next fight, but you can't overstay your welcome, right? This next fight is so critical. So Ontario Tech, if they can survive the gravitic flux here, which they should, they have a transcendence, right? Then they can force final fight, right? This is with ults in tow as well.
Yeah, Cheese Dance looking for an opportunity to throw out that flux. Here it comes. The transcendence is there. Night damage done, but they do commit the immortality field as well. Not gonna have that as this Flux Dragon comes in, but again, Memes is there. The immortality field out as well from Revele, and they do find Nacho time. This is Nacho time for Ontario Tech to hold here on first. Bob is going to be committed as well, just to kind of ensure this point. The Slifer goes down after taking out Cheesy Nets, but here comes in Reps for Jesus again. UNH finds them though, and it was close, but Ashland got it.
I mean, when Ashland needs a big pick, V1H has been there time in and time out all season long. This is a big moment player, right? V1H has... I mean, sometimes you just need someone to make a play, right? You just need someone to kind of come in and clutch something, and V1H has been that, and in fact was that in that last fight. So, really big pickup. Because again, if Ashland, if V1H doesn't come up big there, I mean, it's final fight territory with no ults.
Yeah, B1H kind of needed to pop off there, and they did deliver. Now they're gonna have the Dragon Strike as well, so they could use this to kind of separate Ontario Tech a little bit, and they do. They pull out the Immortality Field as well as isolate the Baptiste and Nacho Time. But so far, that hasn't yielded a kill. Nacho Time actually having to back up quite a bit here, but that's going to pull out B1H chasing that kill, and Reps for Jesus punishes them for it. Vasuki honestly not able to get a lot done from that position either. Goes down very low and taken out by Reps.
This Ash pick is an interesting one. I don't know that it's very effective at its operating range, right? Ash is also a mid-range player, and operating within the same, just not the same level of brawl as Cassidy, right? So Ashland kind of unnecessarily slowing their game down.
And this is the best I think we've seen Ontario Tech look today, right? This poke v poke mirror is really going Ontario's way right now. Amp Matrix 2 gonna buy a little bit of time. It doesn't necessarily catch anyone out though, so I don't think a lot of value other than stalling is coming out from it. And here comes Ada again, finds Memes this time, who did have a Transcendence online, so could have been a big part of a win condition here for Ashland. But at this point, with the Immortality Field coming out as well, not a whole lot they can do until Ada gets back. But Slifer coming up big once again for Ontario. They're looking fine at this point. They're on cruise control here.
Or Ashland wasting their own time. There was no way they were going to be in that fight if they weren't going to actually try and, you know, use resources. They try and hold map control, but it's low ground to high ground, and Ontario Tech aren't even forced to use anything. So Ashland end up just wasting their own time. And now, I mean, it's a minute 10 left here, so while not exactly final fight, it's close enough to it, especially on Circuit Royale, where it takes so long to approach the objective, that this next fight ends up being a must-win for Ashland, and Ontario Tech has so many tools.
That they do. There's tools abound for them. Mortality Field has to come out as well. So for Ontario Tech, Dragon Strike comes in. TZ Dance does find one, so Ashland with an opportunity here to start pushing forward, but Gravitic Flux from Nacho Time gonna slow things down at least for a moment. They do chase down Slifer. In the meantime, B1H goes down as well. Otto again continuing to find a value here for Ontario Tech. Gets up another pick.
Still, it's not out of the woods yet. I mean, Ashland's kind of invested everything, and there's still players left alive and off the respawn. Okay, Otta getting caught out is, I think, a big start here. I think this might actually be Ontario Tech being forced to kind of cede ground.
Nacho Time gonna try and coming in here for a last moment contest. They use the Amp Matrix as well to try and keep them alive, throw as many heals as they can through. This is overtime here for Ashland, so they have to come away the fight win here if they want to see a third, but Cheesy Dance does not have a shield anymore. They are able to find Nacho Time though. The picks come in and the point will be yielded.
Really, really good denial of space by Ashland in the face of the Amp Matrix. Ontario Tech, I mean, you can see how difficult it was to approach the Cheesy Dance specifically, but even beyond that, having the wherewithal to kind of cycle your resources so well, hiding behind the cart on top of it all. Yeah, Cheesy Dance plays that to perfection to mitigate that entire ult, and it's labored, but Ontario Tech do give up the second point.
With just a minute left to go, though, there's not a whole lot of time, not a whole lot of room for error here. So they're going to go ahead and throw in the Gravitic Flux. B1H finds the Blitz on top of that. Everybody else going very, very low. There's no Immortality Field to help save them. And B1H is continuing to deliver. That is until Nacho Time. That's something to say about it. Easy Nets, though, still able to push forward a little bit. Now they've kind of surrounded Nacho Time, so that pick will come in.
It's earned progress, though, right? This is all it is for Ashland. They're not expected to complete the map here, not in the face of Transcendence, but the truth is this is progress that I don't think Ashland necessarily expected on the second point, considering how much time was stalled away. So.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job here on third, kind of keeping this momentum that they started. Slifer. Oh, wow. And the Dragon Strike gets eaten by Cheesy Dance. That'll actually be the map completed here from Ashland. So, I mean, that's fantastic for them.
That's tragedy for Ontario Tech, though, to die with that in the back pocket. I think just barely earning it by the time they had been eliminated. So good rotate by Ashland, good read to kind of just focus on the supports, deny them an opportunity to kind of get in and contest. Just a really good read. And then in the end, you have no Transcendence. You cannot deny the sound barrier. There's no sustain in time, and it's Sooner Rush as well. So really well done by Ashland.
Now we'll have to see how they fare on defense, but this is definitely the closest anything has looked here between these two squads today. So, yeah, the impetus all here, honestly, I think on Ontario Tech to just kind of keep this pressure on and see if they can repeat some of the success that we saw on first and second.
Yeah, it does. The question I think is now Ashland, do they keep running the Ash or do they switch back to like a true sniper? They just weren't getting anything done with the Ash is just not as mobile as the Widow, right? Going for a grapple shot is actually a legitimate option on second point.
Yeah.
Didn't have any way to kind of break through. And in fact, it was just a sort of skirmish that once they'd switched that really opened things up. Defensively, it's a little bit easier because you're afforded high ground naturally, but yeah, it's still a tough setup. And also Ashland, they don't have massive damage. They're going all in on keeping on Varsity being an Ash player here.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I don't feel like they got a whole lot of value out of Bob either. You know, it didn't seem to be a difference maker in any of the fights that I can recollect. So yeah, we'll have to see what Vazuki can get done here on the defense. There's reps over on the Widow. You know, it falls back just a little bit. A bit of space now being taken by Ontario Tech. They're going to try and push everyone off the high ground here. And with a pick on to Memes, does not look resable. They're just going to have to fall back and yield this space to Ontario.
Yeah, one of the reasons we don't see a lot of Mercy in these compositions is because the Zen adds another angle to shoot from, right? While still providing that damage boost in the Discord orb. So Mercy, not a bad pick necessarily, but Varsity needs to step up because you're putting so many resources into making them kind of be your primary damage source.
That Discord orb definitely causing some problems here. It keeps going on and off of Cheesy Dance, and that's really limiting their effectiveness in a big way. But they land an accretion on a blitz. Baptiste is going to strike back though, so no Baptiste left alive. The res is in though. B1H in the middle of all that does find a pick onto Slifer. Nice block from the accretion there by Nacho Time as they try to regroup for another approach.
That is one nice thing about the Widow or the Mercy is if you're in cover, the Resurrect can actually bring you back. So fairly safe elimination because reps fell back a layer. Ooh, now here's where the tough fight gets in.
Yeah.
Oversight into the Ridiculous. Surviving it pretty well though.
Wow. Yeah, and the Dragon Strike successfully splitting a little bit of Ontario Tech. Becomes one of their own though, and that damage just too much for Ashland to deal with. And they'll cap with 4.5 minutes.
Now Ontario Tech begins the long climb on second. Ashland going to switch up. I think Revelia might actually end up getting off of Mercy here. Regardless, the this is gonna the Tracer pick now. I think is going to. This changes the dichotomy, right? Raps is no longer taking sort of a duel at range. It really is going to come down to how well can you slow Tracer down while your snipers find the backline. This time, not at all, as Slifer gets cleaned up from Memes.
The Ampatrix now, that's going to force out the Immortality Field, force everybody back. Memes again with a headshot. The BAP taking out 2 snipers. I mean, that's a value you couldn't ask for from Memes.
Oh, Memes, another one. 3 final blows in this fight.
Yeah.
Nice little delay there onto Ontario Tech. Red to Ashland for not. I think the other thing too there is that Ontario Tech decided to keep that, just lose that one directly. Once memes comes with the Ant Matrix, they don't actually respond in kind. Instead, electing to just, I think, reset and kind of try and play an advantage in terms of economy here in this next one.
And here comes the Gravitic Flux. They will catch one. Blitz goes down again. Transcendence was there, but unable, it didn't use it in this circumstance. Salvo does found Reveille, and the Immortality Field is forced out. Now they're going to use the Transcendence to try and push forward a little bit. That's going to give Nacho time. Plenty of room to remove her. Get a kill on the way. That's going to be Cheesy and falling as well. So, card stopped briefly, but Ontario Tech has it again.
It's going to be, that was expensive. Or I wouldn't say expensive, but it was definitely one where Ontario Tech didn't have anything else other than the Transcendence. Now, in this, what is going to be Final Fight for second, they're going to have a Gravitic Flux, you know, and there's, aside from Ant Matrix, or sorry, Immortality Field, there's no way to really deny this damage.
Dragon Strike thrown through cart. Deadeye comes out now, but the Pulse Bomb is going to stick, but it'll be a trade, the Deadeye for the Pulse. Everyone eliminating each other. The res is in for Ashland with memes popping off again. That's gonna be a reset from Ontario Tech.
That was a really nice Ashland recognized the who's gonna be for the primary sort of damage dealer there, and they don't even allow Nacho time to exist. They just rush down this Sigma and entirely eliminate them, delete their opportunity to use the Gravitic Flux, and that was one that Ontario Tech tried to invest in. So yeah, just a really good identification of the main win conditions Ontario Tech has, and Ashland removing it.
Vasuki again, kind of peppering from an off angle. Storm arrows get reps. Gonna be a flurry of kills though, both ways. The res is going to come in, so a bit of an advantage again for Ashland, but that's gonna be a beautiful Gravitic Flux. The Dragon Strike thrown in as well. Damage is done. So this will be Ontario Tech rolling into third with about a minute more on the clock than Ashland had.
Ashland, if they can get a... Ashland, it's now coming down to how many fights you can get on third, right? Because keep in mind, that was a full map captured by Ashland University.
And at every step of the way, too, Ontario Tech has bested them in time. And if that continues, Ontario could certainly finish with a little bit of time. But honestly, I think it's going to be it could be an inconsequential amount of time as well, right? There's so much ground for them to cover at this point still.
Varsity changes to Cassidy too now, so it'll be just high ground control, high ground control. Of course, Pool is by nature afforded to the defense.
Yeah. Ooh.
Nice accretion.
That's a big pick. They're going to try and force the issue. Here comes a Gravitic Flux, though. They do find reps, but there's no backline left. No backline left for Ashland. No DPS here for Ontario. Card has stalled momentarily. The Cheesy Dance is going to be neutralized, going to be deleted. Masuki, now wearing a Discord Orb, is going to have a hard time getting any value from this high ground position. BNH just sitting up there with a Dragon Strike. They're going to need to be patient with and a way for this fight to really break out.
Yeah, time expiry is kind of the name of the game here. Ooh, nice dodge with the accretion while the Dragon Strike's in the back line. Forces an Immortality Field early.
And it does force Nacho time as well to use a lot of resources to kind of sustain there, but they sustain and do more. They get a two-player advantage here, and now Cheesy Dance just running for their lives. Vasuki gonna try and get something done in the high ground, but Blitz, hopping like a frog, has found them. They're gonna be able to neutralize that Deadeye. Nothing from that. Now this is gonna be B1H dancing around on point, seeing how long they can keep this alive with memes. Magnetic Grenade goes out. It does find memes. So Vasuki coming back out on the Reaper, looking TP to point to see if they can again take off more time. Riddick Flux comes in. Everybody shoots for the high ground. The Dragon Strike from Slifer just about ready to go too, so they can clear point with that if need be. But Ashland successfully burns off a lot of time there right at spawn.
Yeah, only 29-second difference for this one. Ontario Tech, I mean, this third point has been sort of a problem for both teams defensively. Not able to posture for eliminations, right? They give up so much space, so much high ground, taking awkward fights. And, I mean, a lot of credit has to be given, I think, to the backline specifically of Ontario Tech, Otta in particular. Back-to-back pickoff eliminations, uncontested, that forced Ashland to retreat. And when you're that far back, when you're giving up that much more space that you can't really reset. So I think Otta the hero on that third point.
Yeah, now, I mean, I think moving into rounds 3 and 4, Ontario Tech, definitely the team to beat here, and they have to, right? This is the last of all last chances that you could possibly have here in this tournament. So, love what we've seen from the Poke, and if they're able to sneak away a win here on Circuit Royale, I think this is definitely a path to victory for them.
Winnable indeed. How much progress Ashland gets, though, is the question. B1H open up in a Widow, so they're running double hit scan here. Interesting look indeed.
No major changes coming out for either side. Nice job dodging the accretion from Cheesy Dance, but B1H gonna be able to find Slifer. That's an opening for Ashland. They'll at least get a little bit of progress here, as now they've got the high ground control as well, and Ontario Tech is just forced back to that second corner here on first.
Ooh, such a close shot there, actually.
Yeah. Ooh, Cheesy Dance goes down very low in that. Pulls out the Immortality Field, actually coming out from both sides. So, Ontario Tech back to full strength, and they're going to find Vasuki on the flank with 11 seconds left to go. This is a deadly turn things were taken for Ashland. Everybody's starting to fall down. The focus coming in from Ontario Tech. They'll pull everybody off the point. Overtime is here, and that is where the cart will stop.
And I've been a consistent theme from the GPS from Ashland as they take very greedy angles without properly earning space on the map. And with that, you know, they open up they open up themselves to free damage. So unfortunate situation there, but a lot of credit to, I mean, specifically reps there for getting that early pick onto the Cassidy, onto the opposing Cassidy, and that starts a snowball that unfortunately the conclusion for Ashland is that they end up being held at first.
Yeah, Ontario Tech, they got 30 more seconds to do what Ashland couldn't. Let's push it almost to the end of first. And they were able to keep this cart moving pretty well on their first trip through the streets of Circuit Royale. So Ashland gonna have to do something different than they did the first time.
I mean, it is still only a 29-second difference between them, so it's essentially 1.5 fights really here for Ontario Tech. They don't have nearly that much time as you may expect. Looks like Ashland going to be playing to just run the clock down, playing a close hold here into a brawl. I don't know that Ontario Tech will expect this. And again, this composition is not set up for long-term success because you can switch quickly for Ontario Tech after one fight. However, the problem is that you don't have really that much time. So if Ashland's win one fight cleanly, that's basically Ontario Tech just completely evaporating.
Oh my gosh, Cheesy Dance going in far too aggressively. They're gonna pay for it. And in fact, Ontario Tech just going to delete this entire team from Ashland that had opted to try for a close hold here. Did not work out.
They will get a second fight though. That was such a quick fight that now it is final fight territory, even with Ashland straight up losing it. So they're gonna go for a brawl here in the final moments. The thing is though, is your DPS need to pop up. B1H needs to get into a line of sight to get eliminations here.
This is what it comes down to. Ontario Tech's life is on the line here. Rest for Jesus does find Vasuki, so the opportunity is here for Ontario Tech to take us to another map. They have found another Cheesy Dance going down low. All right, we get one, but Ontario Tech stays alive. They are going to be taking us to a map number 4.
Really, really well played by Ontario Tech there. Recognizing the greed of Ashland's spacing, and after time just hold space on the map. They play aggressively, put the shield between the rest of the team and Cheesy Dance, and entirely deny the healing to the tank player. So they're just entirely isolated, and it also removes B1H from the conversation. So a composition that doesn't make a ton of sense from Ashland in terms of running the Widow specifically. I understand their comp, you know, the wholesale composition, why that's in play, but individual markers of it a little bit odd. So yeah, down a map now, or losing one map, not quite closing it out immediately, and we now have to head into a map number 4 push, which I think, if I saw correctly, they've already selected very, very swiftly.
Yeah. Yeah, they knew where they wanted to go. I believe this is going to be Esperanza. And I like this pick as well from Ashley, because I think it kind of neutralizes a lot of the poke that perhaps Ontario Tech wants to run. There are certainly some long sight lines, but at least when you get out to that initial starting point on Esperanza, there's so many corners, so much geometry that you can use to hide behind that I'm just not sure the poke is going to be the right choice.
We'll have to see if substitutes come in for OTSU. As we saw, there are two players coming in, Reps and Nacho Time both, playing in as from the starting roster rather. So yeah, I think, I mean, it's tough for Ashley University. They let a glorious opportunity pass them by. Keep in mind that composition that they're running, the Ramatra, we've seen it a lot, and usually it includes the Hanzo, not a Widowmaker. And B1H was so good on the Widow, or on the Hanzo, all the way throughout, that it honestly is a little surprising they choose to run a Widow in that final moment, right? Because against the Sigma, you're kind of shielded out, and there's not really anything you can do. So yeah, tough place. But that's how it breaks sometimes. And as we head into push for map number 4, it's still advantage Ashland, but very much not as confidence inspiring as it was after 2.
Yeah, there is definitely a crack in the armor here for Ashland that Ontario Tech did a beautiful job exploiting. And Ashland as well, like you said, I think, just a slight misplay with the composition there. It kind of helped it along a little bit. But yeah, Esperanza, this is gonna be much different, I think, than what we saw on Circuit Royale. More of a throwback to the first 2 maps. And I think we could see the Diva coming out here for Ashland. We could see the Ram. I think both would function very well here.
H-Runs. I think H-Runs also has moved a lot into mobility-based compositions, which in general, I think the advantage has to be given to Ashland here. They were also very quick on that selection. They knew immediately which map they wanted to go to.
Yeah, they really did.
4, 3.
Well, gates are about to open, actually, and it will be Cheesy Dance on Junker Queen. Overall, too, this is interesting. This is a kind of a wholesale departure from a lot of what we have come and grown to expect here from Ashland, right? No ball at all today from them. They seem to have abandoned that way of life and are going for something a little different. We are first time, too, I believe, seeing Nacho Time on Ramatra, and I'm excited to see what they can get done. They start to poke away at kind of this off angle. They can push back on Cheesy Dance a little. In the meantime, Reps finds Memes. Things opening up in a good way here for Ontario. B1H trying to get something done with an off angle as well. In the meantime, Cheesy Dance runs one down. Memes is coming back to the action too. This fight definitely not over yet. Neither team has struck kind of a definitive defining blow here. Ooh, but this could be it as Nacho Time catches B1H in a rough position. Calcium falls though as well, so it is a 1-for-1 trade. Gonna be the Suzu coming out as well to try and keep Nacho Time alive, but it won't be enough to help Slifer, who falls. The advantage now definitely here for Ashland, but they need to secure these kills, which they just haven't quite done. It'd be a beautiful jagged blade though to pull back on Nacho Time and give Ashland the fight win.
Now they get all the forward members too of Ontario Tech. It's a really good read actually on Cheesy Dance, who I think that the big thing there is that Cheesy Dance plays sort of the aggression to perfection. The unfortunate for Ashland, there are still sort of issues. Both Memes and B1H are caught playing a little too aggressively and not sort of disengaging with their tank. Like they're right there. Memes just overstaying their welcome.
Oh yeah, and Vasuki, just a beautiful post bomb as well. Cheese Dance actually does throw in the Rampage too.
wins them the fight.
Not sure if that was needed.
No, in essence, I do like that play, because there was a couple. Varsity was really weak. Recall had been forced. The Tracer wasn't going to put pressure on the back line, so you needed something to confirm the fight. And this way you get the checkpoint, right? If they hadn't gone the checkpoint, then yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a tough issue. But for Ashland now, it's all about sort of slowing the game down. Force Ontario Tech to overspend in this next one, because Ontario Tech needs to gain space in the map.
I'm trying to do that. Deadeye's come out, but it will be this annihilation here from Nacho Time that is starting to push pretty aggressively onto Ashland. Are taking a lot of damage, but the damage they are putting out is gonna be a lot more. TC Dance just stop them, but that is all they're gonna be able to do as they fall. Melee here from Slifer. Point still being contested.
I will say that this is not entirely a bad situation here for Ashland, even though they end up losing this fight. Keep in mind they had forward spawns, right? And in fact, only one who's not going to have forward spawns is Varsity. As they get spawned in by the checkpoint. So this is gonna be a super scattered fight. Oh, that's nice Suzu too.
Wow,
this is really well done by Ashland.
Yeah, Ashland is playing this to a T right now, and they've been able to. I mean, that push that came out, right? Ontario Tech won a fight there, but look at how little progress they got for it.
And it cost them a lot. You're just looking at a pulse bomb now for Ontario Tech. And keep in mind, Ashland University, you know, they've got the Rampage back. They still have a sound barrier. It's looking really good to get genuine progress here on this next phase. Oh, memes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, meme's gonna be caught out a little bit. Here comes the Rampage once again to try and turn things around here for Ashland. It's gonna be too little too late. B1H does find one. That's gonna be all they do.
Nice little pickup there. Slifer comes in clutch there. I mean, the elimination onto the Lucio to shut down the sound barrier. That just removes all the sustain. And Ontario Tech now right back into it. Keep in mind, that was a fight that didn't have anything realistically. So Ashland, their prime opportunity gone. And they're now in a similar position, despite being in the lead, where they have to kind of win this next fight, or make it expensive at least, because the checkpoint will be an opportunity gained by Ontario Tech.
Vasuki getting pushed up. That's an early Suzu as well. Big picks come in though. Favor of Ontario. We should be able to get this just about to the forward checkpoint.
Pick onto reps is actually really big. Because now they cannot easily guarantee themselves the checkpoint, because reps has to walk all the way back from far spawn. But again, Ashland don't force anything from Nacho Time. Or rather, they don't really force Ontario Tech to use much. It's just the Kitsune Rush. Sure, the Deadeye was used, but that's such a cheap ultimate. You don't really care about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're looking to contest. Yeah. Here's the annihilation, right?
Yeah, it has to come out here because they're so close, right, to getting the forward spawn and to getting this checkpoint and the lead. They're going to be able to secure at least the checkpoint and honestly, most likely the lead too.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely get a lead here. The small saving grace here is that Ashland finally get Ontario Tech to actually commit resources. The best thing, Ashland cannot overcommit here.
No, they have to come away with a... Ooh. Yeah, they have to come away with a fine one, but it does have to be economical here. And already they are on the back foot. These Dance kind of forced into this back room. With reps finding one onto B1H as well. This is going to be a lot of progress here on the card for Ontario Tech.
And they don't even get a single elimination here.
Wow.
So this is really, really bad for Ashland University. So a lot of credit to Ontario Tech for playing around this Nemesis. I think the big thing is this Nemesis has now gotten a kill in every fight that Ontario Tech has won. It's ever since they've lost the first two opening skirmishes, they've actually spaced out a little bit better. So they're waiting for Ashland to fully engage before using Nemesis, which means it gets so much more value. It's actually a real threat.
Slifer. And a pepper from an off angle here. Ashland is going to get control of the card. I think Ontario Tech is fine to yield this to them. It pulls them into a great place for this Deadeye. Here comes the Kitsune Rush as well. That's going to be put on a long angle, but big Deadeye coming in for B1A. Slifer does take them out, but it is a player advantage here for Ashland. They desperately need to come away with a 5-win here, but they might not do that as Otto finds a pair. There's going to be a couple players left on point, but Ontario Tech with a little bit more. Vasuki going to be forced to use their fade, but they do get the pickup on the Slifer and the cart.
Well, they can't even really get this around the corner, right? Because look at this, the respawns come in and they, maybe a little bit overstepping there from Reps. But still, that's actually that's another pickup fight that Ashland has to take now, right? Another fight they have to win.
Yeah.
Suzu forced early is really good, though.
Yeah, that is. They're going to be able to chase down Nacho Time pretty aggressive here. Beautiful Death Blossom as well. Finds a 3, and that's the kind of fight win that Ashland needed here.
I think they also denied the instant respawn, which is a funny thing to think about. A little bit of a small factor. Okay, Memes needs the sound barrier to land. You need to be able to duel this Annihilation. It's all about kind of putting in early damage, force Calcium to overextend with the sound barrier, and then be able to respond to the Annihilation with your own.
Yeah, definitely. Ashland has their work cut out for him. Here comes both the Annihilation and the sound barrier. A ton of damage going into Nacho Time right here. Slifer finds B1H, but they're going to be traded for reps. Now Nacho Time is out of the Annihilation form, but they still got plenty of health to work with here. Mitsuki trying as much as they can to deal some damage in here, turn things around in favor of Ontario Tech, but they're just not able to so far as Slifer has found means too. But here comes the Kitsune Rush. That's going to mean Vasuki and these Hellfire Shotguns can work overtime. Nacho Time having a hard time dealing with it. They're going to go back into their Nemesis form, but they're unable to just block that incoming damage. So a beautiful Deadeye to finish things off.
Well, that is a gamble from Ashland, but a good one. Using that Kitsune Rush there is so deadly. If they fail to get value out of that, their map is over, right? With a minute remaining, it becomes basically impossible to actually have a comeback at that stage. So, but with it, they now have an opportunity to at least take one more fight should they lose this one, which you know it's you gotta operate on the edge sometimes. But Ashland make the right call at that time.
They certainly do. Here comes another Death Blossom from Varsity. They find one. Memes gets another one with 41 seconds left to go. The lead will be yielded to Ashland.
And they keep the Junker Queen Rampage in tow as well. Now, I mean, you'll have something to respond, something to force the sound barrier from Calcium. And Ontario Tech now have to win, 3 fights in a row, essentially. They're already off to a terrible start.
Yeah, the Annihilation going to come out to try and turn things around immediately. They will do that with a pair of picks. Sound barrier committed as well. Nacho Time has to fall back to point. That's going to be 3 kills. Make it 4 for the Ramatra.
Yeah, but that's the sound barrier committed and the Annihilation. Which, I mean, I understand why Ontario Tech has to win that fight, and they're down their Kiriko. Ashland, though, in prime position. Keep in mind, it's Ontario Tech need to win 2, maybe 3 fights. And Ashland University, they only have to win 1. So it's all about making this a messy. Ontario Tech, you know, as long as Slifer doesn't hit a wild pulse bomb, if you can force the Suzu from Ontario Tech, Ashland are in prime position.
Here comes the engagement. That's going to be Reps just centered in on deleted. Pulse bomb goes out as well, but the Deadeye from B1H is going to land. This is going to be Ashland punching their ticket, staying alive here in the last chance qualifier as they clean up on Esperanza and take the series 3-1.
It was not a guarantee here. Ontario Tech had a real shot for sure on Esperanza, but Ashland in the final moments, they actually, very clutch to pick that one up, and they'll get that 3-1 as you highlighted, of course. We now have to unfortunately say farewell to OTSU. Their season will come to an end. Not just a little bit shy of the playoff berth, but nonetheless, a very impressive performance from them. Ashland University, they keep their season alive.
And congratulations to them. That's going to be the end of game 1, but we do have another one coming here today.
We actually will have an interview coming in a moment, but yeah, this is going to be it for our games for the day for Overwatch specifically. So when we return, an interview with the winner of Ashland University. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
everybody? Welcome back to the broadcast. We have Cheesy Dance in, the tank player, here for Ashland University. First off, congratulations today on a fantastic win and keeping yourselves in the race for the playoffs.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now to start things off here, I just want to talk a little bit about kind of some of the shifts that we've seen coming out from your team over the season. Right when we started, and we're talking to you early on in the spring split, the ball composition, that was a big part of what you were all running. And honestly, you know, I was here, I was ready for it, I was expecting it today, but nowhere to be found. You all seem to have taken a wholesale shift in your approach to the game as this season has gone on. So kind of talk me through some of these decisions, right? Why were these choices made? Because certainly you all performed phenomenally here today.
Yeah, I think for a while we're on like a singularity of like 1 or 2 comps, and that's what we did good at. And to keep it straight, you know, we did a little bit of changes. Fizuki was the ball, was that Winston, was that, you know, the other dive characters. So we want to switch who the play styles were to kind of see what can we do to, you know, not only be better for different situations, but have more flexibility. So that having that extra edge really helped us.
I mean, a team that grows over the course of the season is basically what we expect, but you guys did it to another level indeed. Actually, speaking of growth, though, you guys have been on stream a lot over the course of the regular season, right? We've seen you multiple times. What's it been like, both the ups and downs of it, having it sort of captured in that moment?
You know, everything has been, you know, it's cool to be in the moment, but you also got to keep your, you know, integrity. You got to keep the game, you know, can't get distracted, you know. It's always got to look forward to the match. You got to keep making those plays happen, you know.
Awesome. Now, obviously, you aren't quite out of the LCQ yet. Still one more game required to be won. Looking to that game, what's sort of your expectations of it? What is the team doing to kind of prepare to try and punch their ticket to the playoffs?
So I think we're going to take like a day of rest or break, and we're going to recapitalize on what we need to know, learn, and expect for the next. See who we're up against and take it from there, one step at a time, because we can't overrush everything, right? Especially with team cohesion.
That's a very wise words, honestly, right? Taking it one step at a time, take it slow. Don't kind of overcommit, and certainly don't get overconfident, right? That's I think a big part of a recipe for success too. So before we let you go, before we close things out here, one final question for me. Would you like to give any shout outs to friends, family, teammates, whoever you would like?
You know, I want to say I'm a graduating senior, and my teammates are phenomenal. They grow with each other. We're all here together, been through everything, and we've gone up slowly through the charts as we've gone on. So I really appreciate all of that and their hard work.
All right, well, we appreciate you, Cheesy Dance, and the rest of the Ashland squad. So thank you so much for joining us with the interview today. Best of luck to you, and we will see you later. All right, LaFon. Yeah, apparently that's going to do it for us today. I'm sorry, chat, that I baited you, but that is the one game that we have. So not the kind of April Fools that I was meaning to pull here today, but there it is. It is what it is. So I'm sorry that we have to leave you all for now. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our wonderful production staff here at the Naystar League. As always, thank you, LaFon, for casting alongside me, and you, the viewers, for tuning in today. GG's, and see you next time.